Welcome to Late Boomers, our new reality, where we are living, learning, and redefining what life after 50, 60, and beyond can look like.
And we are your hosts. I'm Mary Elkins, and Cathy Worthington just spoke. And every week, we explore topics that matter to boomers: reinvention, relationships, purpose, health, loss, grief, growth, and all the adventures that come to us at this stage.
Today, we're doing something a little different. We are inspired by a fascinating article in the February 2026 issue of AARP magazine called Should You Ditch Getting Hitched?
That is an interesting topic. In other words, should people really get married when they're older and later in life, or is companionship enough?
For many boomers, this isn't theoretical. We could be divorced, widowed, happily single, dating again, or in a committed relationship, but the relationships don't follow traditional expectations, right?
Oh, that's really true. And really dating later in life is so different than what it was decades ago when we were young.
Yeah, younger. Oh, we're so young now. Right. So today we're unpacking modern love after 50. Marriage, dating apps, companionship, finances, independence, and whether happily ever after needs a legal contract.
Yeah, and I think young people are questioning that too, because boomers are asking the same questions, but for different reasons.
Exactly. When you're older, you're not necessarily looking to build a life from scratch. You already have a life.
Yeah, or we're just in a new phase and we have to build that new life from scratch. But then you have to think about your home, your finances, all the routines that you're used to, family dynamics, children, grandchildren. I'm
And
sure
maybe an
there's
estate plan, huh?
yeah, that too, definitely.
Yeah. So the question is, why marry again if you already know who you are and what you want?
Or maybe, why not?
Yeah. Dating in our generation used to be very linear, though.
So I was going to say to you, what do you mean? But I guess you're thinking about dating, getting serious in college, getting pinned. Maybe you got married, you bought a house, you had children, and
Yeah, and people later in life are asking now whether companionship can exist without all those traditional boxes being checked.
yeah, like there is a term for this, which is living apart together.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think a lot of boomers really secretly find that very appealing.
You say secretly?
Well, yeah.
Okay, should I just leave that up into secrets? But I guess, if you love someone but when you think about it, really living apart together, the idea of having your own bathroom, maybe even your own bed, it doesn't sound that bad.
It may be the true secret to romance.
Uh, and your own thermostat.
Oh,
for that matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think marriage is still the ultimate goal later in life? I know how I feel about that question.
How do you feel?
I feel it's not. But how do you feel? That it's a goal?
Well, I'm not going to have children. That would be for the Guinness. That would be for the Guinness World Book of Records.
Well, unless you were adopting.
But then you think about companionship, and it's nice to think of having somebody there. And is the legal commitment that important? Maybe in certain ways it is, but um, and if you lose a spouse like we have, or go
Both
through a
of us,
divorce,
both of us.
yeah, and I'm positive that people approach relationships differently.
And full disclosure for those of you who don't know us, we've both widowed. We're both widowed, and neither one of us is divorced. So we don't fit the mold of what everybody else is going through necessarily. But I know an awful lot of people now that have lost their spouses. And
Yeah.
does it make them more cautious, more independent, or clearer about what they want?
I think it could. You know, we if you've been married a long time, sometimes when you have that time alone for a while, it makes a big difference because you find out who you are in this stage of life.
Mhm. And one thing you have to discuss or think about is money.
That's a big thing,
Uh-huh.
because marriage affects taxes, Social Security, pensions, inheritance, healthcare options. That's a biggie that a lot of people want to avoid.
I know it's not sexy first date conversation, but particularly I think people worry about inheritance, you
Um,
know?
well, for kids, if you have kids, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I would most people want to leave their money to their kids, but also if they marry later in life, but they've been with that person for 10, 20 years, they'll want to take care of that person too. So,
Right, it gets very tricky with the estate, and I do hear nightmare stories about people stepping in, the kids from the other side suing the kid one of the kids that got the money, like, got
yeah,
more money,
or e
especially
or
if yeah,
yeah, or even the, spouse. The new spouse, their
yeah.
their mother-in-law or whatever they wanna call or father-in-law.
Yeah, and maybe they end up with the money because now the new spouse loves the spouse so much, he or she wants to take care of that person, and so the child feels disinherited, that can happen.
Yeah,
So I
and
think sometimes they're not supportive of their, uh, of you getting married. I mean,
right,
yeah.
right, but then how does that influence romance, late in life romance? And
I think a lot. I think people really think about money. I think, it
at least
it
in
can take a front seat. It
I
can
think
take the front seat as opposed to when you're in 20s and you're just gonna combine and you're gonna work together and
and neither
it's
of you has anything anyway, but when you're
right.
older, you hope you have a nest egg, you hope. And children are very, very cognizant of what's there for them. Um,
Mhm.
but, I've had something in my mind when we talked about doing this episode, and it's really about love. Um, is love the same as it was when we were younger? Do you feel the same? What is it? Is it just really you feel comfortable with someone, you care about them, you want to take care of them? Is it still romantic and passionate like it was when we were kids?
I think it's super different, super different. I think all the emotional play is there and the moods and trying to cope with another person, it's all there, but no, it's not the same as when you fall head over heels and you're 25 years old. No, I don't think so.
I don't think it is either. It would be I think we're all searching for that, and yet I don't know if it's possible. Maybe it is.
I think we have to recognize when the other version of it hits us over the head, it's there anyway. It's the comfort factor, feeling super comfortable to be with somebody and hang out with somebody and not worry about like, "Oh, I don't feel butterflies all the time."
Yeah,
Maybe that's a healthier thing.
and maybe it is. It's in a way, it's like being married for how you feel when you've been married to someone for a long time. It's just a
Right.
different kind of love, and maybe it's a better kind of love, and it's
Yeah.
certainly the kind of love that I think we need.
Yeah, more real and, more grounded, maybe more grounded.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't it
how about this for a topic switch? Would you ever use dating apps? Because I know I have not and you have not, so I know asking that question, but most people listening to us that are in this situation are using dating apps. That
I
is the
know.
most common way now that people meet, younger people and older people. I have a girlfriend in her 80s and she's using dating apps and she always dates younger men and she's really done well with dating apps. And I
And
don't
the
mean it's a lot of guys, but
and I
it's
have
been
a friend
several.
I have a friend who's was on dating apps, and she's older too, and she's given up on them. She just said she hasn't met anybody, and she said she's made the decision that if she meets somebody, great, but in the meantime, she's going to enjoy her life, whatever life she has in front of her, giving parties, traveling, um, cooking for friends, just going out with girlfriends or man friends, but she's given up on actually
Well, then
doing.
she doesn't figure into this podcast at all because today we're talking about relationships,
We are.
dating relationships.
I know,
You
but
know,
the
what,
idea I
what
gotta
happened to
tell you,
that?
I know, but I have to tell you that the idea of having to do my profile and then having to swipe, what is it, right or left?
I don't
I
know.
don't even know.
I'm not familiar
And
yet.
then, I mean, we still have an ego. What if someone ghosts us or people,
Yeah.
there's a word called catfishing. I'm not even sure what it is, but
Well, words we have to know in this world. And you and I have interviewed a couple people as guests for this podcast that are experts in dating. And they say once you go on an app, you treat it like a full-time job. You have to check it every single day. You have to give it, several hours. You can't just, swipe a couple times and expect things are going to happen. You have to like follow through. So it sounds like so much work to me.
it sounds like too much work for me. I mean, I have so many other things I'm doing. The podcast
I
obviously is
know the
one.
podcast takes up all the dating time,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
really does. I mean, and certainly you're very good on social media. I'm still dealing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you are. You're great. You do it all the time, and I don't, and I should.
if only. I don't
But
do it all the time. You're supposed to do it every day.
I will. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't do it every day, but I should be doing it every day.
Well, so should I.
We make reels for all of our episodes, and are they all up online right now? No, they're not quite.
No, well, they're
So
all on YouTube. Everybody out there
no, the
listening.
reels aren't. The reels, the
Oh,
episodes
those.
are on there. All the
Oh, right.
episodes are up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the little reels that are supposed to promote, we're supposed to be posting those every day, and it puts a lot of pressure, and that feels kind of like the dating apps too.
It does, doesn't it? It feels just like more work, more stuff to do, when really at our age, we just kind of want companionship as far as dating apps and
Well,
men and
it is
relationships
very nice to have someone to go to the movies with, to go
or
to dinner
travel
with,
with.
travel with, and because people, all of us, you and I, have fought hard to have independence late in life. So, you know, how much what do you think about let's discuss then how you feel about marriage itself, like late in life.
Well, I think one thing about marriage, if you are married and you haven't lost your spouse or divorced, um, or separated, and
Oh, I meant a new one.
oh,
Finding a new one. Are you going to feel that it's comforting or confining?
you know, it depends on the person and the chemistry and what you have together. If you have a relationship that makes you feel like you're a better person, if they are supportive of you emotionally, if they're the person you can call in the daytime and say, "Here's what I did today," um, that's really important. Not long after my husband passed away, I left his message on our we had an answering machine then, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
and so not long after he passed away, I just call it and just talk about what I did during the day, which is pretty it sounds pretty pathetic, but
It's
it was a
not. It's
way.
a way of coping with grief.
Yeah.
I think it sounds really healthy. I think, like, I'm not a therapist, but I bet a therapist would tell you that's a really good idea.
Well, there you go.
I
Yeah.
just used to go out in the backyard and talk without recording anything, you know?
Yeah.
Talk to them and just discuss it. But how about, don't you think separate households at this stage in life, late in life or whatever, meet just even midlife, 58 years old you could be, and you find yourself widowed or divorced.
Yeah.
And don't you think like separate households can actually strengthen relationships?
Well, that's what they say. Long distance relationships keep the heart grow fonder. Isn't that the phrase? Or I'm
Absence
paraphrasing.
makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, okay,
I don't love the absence part because you want to
but
be
it
able to see
is.
the person.
It really is. Um, but I mean, on one hand, do couples really need to live together on that note to be committed? Because I think we have a friend who's, I don't know if she's living with her beau, but they have a committed relationship, and I don't know that they live together. I think they keep separate households, don't they?
I don't, I'm right offhanded. I don't know who you're talking about. So
Oh,
I do know some people who are actually married and they have separate households.
oh,
They have, in fact, in New York, they have a place where they live across the hall from each other.
oh, that
So that,
sounds perfect.
yeah, it's really amazing. I've been there to visit, and it's really amazing. And part of the time they're in Paris because they're originally French. And I don't know if they're, um, if they do the same thing in Paris, if they have two places. I have no idea. I don't think so. But let's talk about
Let's talk about
caregiving.
health. Yeah.
Let's talk about health and caregiving.
Yeah, that is
Um,
big.
yeah, would you like expect a boyfriend of yours to start taking care of you? That feels really uncomfortable to me.
You know, I think if you have a committed relationship, it's kind of it's not stated, but you do. If you care about somebody, if they get sick, you're there for them. Unless you live in different cities or different states or countries, then it becomes a
Which
little
is,
more difficult.
yeah, yeah,
But
you can't expect that to happen at all.
and then it depends how much caregiving you're talking about. Are you talking about,
Yeah,
total I hate to say dementia and Alzheimer's and all those things that can happen to all of us, some terrible accident or major, major health concerns. But on one hand, that's where marriage can be something that is necessary because you can at least get into the hospital and make decisions, and with if especially if that person wants you to do that.
but
So,
I would say when you're just seeing someone and going to dinner and going to movies and visiting or maybe going on little trips or whatever, I don't think you're it feels uncomfortable to me to say, "Oh, do we need a medical power of attorney?" Because
yeah,
maybe you leave that to their kids or whatever.
right, right.
And, I think could be super awkward.
I
But
agree.
but if you don't have a medical power of attorney, as we know from interviewing who is our guest, your friend that wrote the incredible book about
Oh, yeah, right.
what's his name again?
Dan Morheim.
Dan Morheim has the book, and
Yeah,
it's very helpful book, and I'm sure he would say, "Yeah, like on the 3rd date, you better get a medical power." But,
right,
we didn't
right.
discuss that topic when he was talking about how to plan.
I can't even imagine discussing it with someone that you're dating. I mean, that's more of
I
a
know.
marriage situation, and yet, when you get up there, it's kind of I mean, in a way, it's kind of scary, and
Mhm.
to when you think, "Am I gonna be alone? Am I gonna pass away and no one will know?" I mean, that's kind of frightening to think
I
about.
know, and my friend Lana always says, "I don't wanna be the nurse or the purse." So she's not gonna support anyone late in life with her accumulated savings, and she's also doesn't wanna take care of them indefinitely because she just went through all that losing her husband.
Right, right, right.
And you and I have been through that, and it's, like, not something you wanna jump into. It's not ever something you wanna jump back into. "Oh, I could just do that again."
But at the same time, when you think of these years that we have left, how many we have, 1 or 100, I doubt 100, but but, you think about, I want to have fun. I want to have a good time. I want to be happy. I want I want joy in my life. I want some independence to find out
Mhm.
what I want, where I'm going, what we still think of future. So on one hand,
Yeah.
having a relationship is really important.
And I have some close friends that are neighbors, and I watch what they're going through. And one in particular is living with a husband who now has Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And
Oh,
what she goes through every day is so difficult.
oh
And it's
yeah.
it's like I see that happening and I go, I don't want that. But on a lighter note, let's get back to dating for a minute. Let's get off the
Oh
caregiving
yeah,
and
we're talking about
we'll
marriage and
table that.
commitment
But
and
let's talk about dating.
okay, let's talk about dating. You
Well,
go first.
what about what red flags we should be looking for?
Ah, let's
There are
see.
a lot of red flags.
I
There are a
think
lot of red flags.
there are,
Have you
well,
heard of love bombing?
no, what is it?
Oh, it's when the person you've just met gets so obsessed with you right away that they are texting constantly and saying they love you like way too soon or too soon for you. It might not be too soon for them, but love bombing, they're just deluging. That's not a word, but you're feeling deluged with all their crap because they're just into it too fast.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I've heard about
they
it a
say
lot.
that they say that men, if they've lost a spouse, really wanted a relationship quickly and want to get married again, whereas women hold off more. And
Yeah,
I
that's
and
true.
and I think that love bombing may be a way for a man to start a relationship, and they're going to have to be patient if they have.
Well, coming out of that, it's so manipulative. Love bombing in many cases, especially when the guys are younger, middle, uh, like maybe their 50s or 60s, they're really manipulating the woman. And she feels like, oh, he's so incredibly in love with him. I
Right,
bet,
and
you
that's
know?
flattering,
Yeah.
and they tell you how much they love you, how beautiful you are, but that's a bit suspect, and you have to say,
Mhm.
"Well, w why is this person doing this?" Uh,
Yeah, because another red flag is financial manipulation.
yeah,
So if they start into that, what are you gonna do with that? That sounds terrible.
I yeah, it's frightening, and then there's another one, what if the person that you want to be with isn't emotionally available? That's another
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm. 'Cause either
Um,
they're in too much grief or they've been burned by a very bad divorce.
yeah,
Because a lot of the guys on dating apps are divorced, of course. Everybody isn't running around widowed.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you think it's possible to have your best relationship late in life?
Well, we can hope. Why not? Uh, you
So you
know,
do think it's possible?
yeah, it's a different kind of love like we were talking about before. And it would be great if you have all the, everything becomes clearer and there's sparkles in your eyes and that would be wonderful. But the truth is that I think older people are, at least older women, are looking for something different. I think men are still looking for sex and I don't think men are that much different than they were, except that perhaps they don't look quite at how you look, but more how you are.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. That probably is true.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
well,
so
what does commitment look like then if say we don't want marriage, what does commitment look like? I don't
that's a
know.
good question. I don't know either. I mean, exclusivity maybe. Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
if you travel together, that doesn't mean much. It's like a long date. Um, it's
Thank you, Mary.
and hopefully you get to meet their family and the
Yeah.
family likes you. I've heard of people who have wonderful relationships older in life and their kids hate the woman, and that's
Oh,
a terrible issue. Um, Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a disaster. I think both of us have had a much better experience than that. We've met guys that have fabulous families that are
yes,
very welcoming, and
absolutely.
it just adds to the quality of your own life when that happens.
Absolutely, it really, really does. And yeah,
I
it
think
does.
yeah,
And
I
and
think yeah, sorry.
I just think, when you become more mature, whatever that really means, whether it means
Mhm.
older or what does maturity mean, really?
I think we know what it means, but to
Well,
define
right,
it,
I could look up the
I don't think
definition, but
yeah.
but I mean,
I think it means that we can be more intentional. We can plan things out. We can say, "These are my finances. This is what I'm not willing to do. Here's what I'm willing to do for caregiving. And I wanna be there for you, but I don't wanna move in and be your nurse," as my other friend had told me, you know?
yeah,
And when I see my neighbor doing it, I don't wanna do it. It's like but
yeah.
sometimes I think, like in the title of the article, should you ditch getting hitched? Should we just ditch it? Yeah, I think that
Well,
for me, I feel
is
like
there a
that's true.
reason? I mean, either
What's the reason
when
to get hitched?
yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have children. You probably don't necessarily need to have shared finances. The only reason I can think of is health, really.
Yeah, but can't you do that with that medical power of attorney that you can be involved?
I think you
So then the
can.
doctors have to disclose to you. They have to let you in the room. If the person is seriously ill, you can be in the room if you have that power of attorney. If you
I
don't,
think
you have no rights at
I
all.
know, I know. I think if you are the designated partner that people, health institutions recognize that now, they never used to. But,
But I think you need a document to that effect.
I'm not sure.
Our readers, our listeners rather, not readers, our listeners can engage with us on the comments on YouTube and tell us some things they've learned about that. I would really like to have some engagement with this episode. If
Oh,
you're
yeah, I
listening
would
to this
too.
at this stage, please let us know. And I want, I think I'm going to thank everybody for joining us today for Late Boomers, Our New Reality. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah, and I think we'll have to continue to talk about our new reality, wherever that
Mhm.
will take us. But
Right.
thank you all for listening and watching, and subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. It means everything to us. And tell us your thoughts, why don't you? Would you remarry? Would you live apart together? Or would you skip marriage entirely?
Absolutely. And also, if you have any ideas about what you'd like to hear our thoughts on, please let us know that too.
Yeah, sure. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening.